What's going on, everybody? We're back with another episode of the Rockets Collective. Today we have our very first guest. So I gotta give him a shout out the gate, my boy DeAndre Williams. If you're not tapped into what he does on Twitter, you need to be. This is a really good stat guy. And he's also on the Right Read podcast with our boy Will. So definitely tap into what Dre does. How you doing today, man?
Doing good, man. Glad to be here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And look, again, yeah. If y'all remember, we just hit 1K, so we appreciate you guys. So keep running that up. Don't like, subscribe. We're taking fan questions today. So if you're in the live, go ahead and start dropping questions, and we'll get to those. But yeah, as always, I'm your host. We got Brad, we got Kelly Eco, Will, and then again we got Dre. So we're gonna start with Sengun talk. There's a bunch of videos this offseason that have come out with him working out. He's been with Fred working out. He's been working on his handle. A lot of shooting drills. So I'll just start with our guest Dre. Man, what do you think about what we've seen from Sengun so far?
I'm always skeptical this part of the offseason in regards to what they show us and what videos get put out. I will say it's encouraging to see what he's been working on. I think the shooting is, especially in the modern NBA, something that's so essential, especially with a big man now allowing you to play more five out and stretch the floor. Say a lot more of the recent videos have been game speed action. I saw a couple videos with him and Fred. I forgot who his other workout partner was, with him running up and down, getting in the shot. So I'd say it's encouraging. Always love to see somebody try and expand their game and attack a weakness and try and turn it into a strength. So if it carries over into the regular season, if he can be a 35-ish% shooter on a couple of attempts a game, it's not only huge for him and his career, but for the Rockets and what they can do next season.
100%. Will, what do you think?
I think it's the off season. Workout videos are workout videos. I don't really know how to put too much stock into a workout video. I think it's cool to see. Obviously, you like seeing it as a fan. But I mean, we seen Rudy Gobert go out there and go 10 for 10 beyond the arc or something like that. So I guess it matters more to me what you do in the actual game itself than what you do in a workout video. But like obviously you like to see that your guys in the gym working, and we know we got a bunch of hard workers, so it is what it is.
Yeah, we just seen Rudy Gobert with a lethal shooter. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, you can't put stock too much into off-season videos, but it is good to see he's working on that. As Dre mentioned, if he's hitting like 35% from three, that'd be lovely. That's all we can ask for. The Rockets need all the shooting they can get. Shout out KD and Dorian Finney-Smith. Good shooters that they acquired. So I'm hoping that the spacing is much better going into next season. Especially with you got Amin Thompson's going to be having those on-ball reps, a lot more of them. So the better the spacing, the more he's downhill to the cup. So yeah, hopefully it translates. I'm excited to see Sengun in EuroBasket. That starts August 27th. Game 1 is against Latvia. So he'll get to play against Kristaps Porzingis. That'll be a fun matchup. So definitely looking forward to that. And mark your calendars too. They play Serbia. So he's going to be playing against Jokic early September. I'll have to get the exact date. So yeah, that'll be fun. But looking forward to seeing what Sengun does. But I'm with both of y'all on the off-season talk. It's like, all right, you can't put too much stock into the workouts.
I think the biggest thing for Sengun from what we saw, looking at the floaters, if you go back to the playoff series, that was the one area where he clearly needed time to develop that skill. The Warriors defense kind of forced him to take some of those mismatches and kind of create from that. But I think some of the advanced analytics put him at league average for the floater conversion rate. And, if you're going to go into next season, the KD thing is going to be an adjustment naturally, but figuring out how to place LP around the nail and, in the short roll. Because if you go back to how he played last season, he's still an elite post-up player. You can use him as an offensive hub. The biggest thing for him is how to use that floater as a weapon, and obviously spacing the floor, shooting the threes is going to be good. But if he can perfect that floater, that opens up a lot more things they can do, underneath the free throw line. So it's going to be good for him to maybe see how he utilizes it at EuroBasket, if he's able to actually work on that craft. Because it's one thing for a video in July, but if you can actually turn that into a skill that you can use on a night-to-night basis, that would be, a promising thing for him going forward.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And yeah, that floater is probably one of his most taken shots. If you just look at his shot chart, he takes that floater a ton. Efficiency can go up there. That's probably another reason why his efficiency wasn't as high as it could have been. But yeah, knock down that floater, and he's good to go. Before we go to the next topic, did y'all see that stat about Sengun in the front court? He was the second most doubled player in the front court this past season behind
for sure.
behind Jokic. So I thought that was dope, especially now that he's got KD next to him. I can imagine he's not going to be getting doubled as much in the front court with KD out there. But what did y'all think about that? I'll pass it to any one of y'all.
I mean, it makes sense. If you look at Houston's half court last season, at times it was an eyesore, like trying to figure out how to create, quality shots on a routine basis. And Alp was their most creative, dangerous player out there. So if you can get him the ball, defenses are going to naturally converge on him, and it's up to him to either kick out or, force the issue with the floater or post-up play. But, yeah, just him drawing that attention, having that gravity, it's interesting to see because, oftentimes we think about gravity, think about the Steph Currys of the world, the KDs, but there are different kinds of draws that you can have as a player in the half court. And to see how much attention he warranted at that young age is pretty good for his career and what it means going forward.
Dre, I saw you were about to talk. Yeah,
I definitely agree. I think the one thing I took from, especially seeing that graph, or not graph, that post with all the statistics on it, was his turnover percentage. It was lower than I expected to be. I want to say it was at 7.5% when getting doubled. I think that's the one area that I had questions about Alp coming out of year 3. When he got doubled, how quickly did he recognize where the help was coming from? Was he able to think a play ahead at times of seeing, all right, this is where the rotation's coming from. I got this kick out here. I think a part of it at times was the trust in who he was kicking out to. All young players go through that of growing up. I know I've always been the best option. How do I rely on my guys and understand that these guys are also NBA players who put in years of work, thousands of shots, and trusting them to get themselves in the right position as well. And I think that he continued to weaponize his gravity really well. And I think it's an area that he still can grow on. And I think that's the beauty of it. He's still so young, still got so much more room to grow. And seeing the progress he's already made, seeing the player that he is, a legitimate all-star caliber center. And like you mentioned earlier, adding a DFS, adding Kevin Durant to that equation, and expecting some of the leaps that we expect from some of our guys like Jabari and Tari, and seeing what the men does on the ball. I'm only expecting that number to, at least in the turnover percentage department, to get lower. And expecting that assist percentage to raise now that he's got more consistent weapons around him.
You muted, Brad.
I am muted. That's on me. Well, if you had nothing else to say about that topic, we can move on to some of these G League guys that the Rockets got.
Yeah, talk to me.
Oh, boy.
All right, let's do it. So,
Two-way
the
talks,
Rockets. Yeah, the Rockets got J.D. Davidson, right?
We got the
G League MVP,
right,
25, 75. And then in the G League playoffs, he had 35 and 13, shot over 40% from 3-game sample now. But he was going off in those playoffs. But let's go to our guest, Dre, man. What do you think about J.D. Davidson coming to the Rockets?
I mean, if you've been on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, like the name J.D. Davidson isn't new to you, he's probably got one of the best Ball is Life mixtapes ever for a high school guy. Like, he is a legitimate freak athlete. It's been weird to see kind of his maturation into the player he's become now. He is more of a, if you watch his G League games, like a cerebral point guard almost, and how he tries to operate off pick and rolls. So he's definitely grown as a player. I don't know how much stock they genuinely put into him in terms of what he might be able to do on the quote-unquote main roster for the Rockets, but I know RGV is going to be one hell of a show. I know whenever I get bored and want to throw on a G League game, that J.D. Davidson's going to show that he doesn't belong. I think he's in that weird space the NBA has right now where he's a bit too good for the G League, but maybe not good enough to demand usage or legitimate, consistent minutes in the NBA. It's never bad to have those guys in your organization. It's never a bad thing to throw a two-way contract out to dudes like that, because barring, knock on wood, barring a couple guys go down, you got to throw out a two-way guy. He's probably the best of the bunch that you could have of the remaining options.
Yeah. Will, Kelly?
Okay, it's on me. I'm tweeting the link right now. What I thought about it is, for everybody who was in here last week and every week coming up and before that asking for a guard, there you go. There goes the guard that y'all been asking Rafael Stone to sign for the last 3-4 weeks. So yeah, y'all want the guard, y'all got him. Yeah, like Dre said, I'm familiar with the name because I am on social media, so I've seen the name before. And then obviously, I knew he was G League MVP. I knew he was doing good things over there. Drew Holiday said he's an NBA player, and I think he's kind of fell victim to being on a team that was really deep and trying to win. So he's a two-way guy, obviously, but there really wasn't that much opportunity for him over there. in Boston, and they're going a whole different direction this upcoming season with all the injuries and whatnot. I think they're probably going to try to like soft reset it actually. So yeah, obviously the situation for him ended over there, but that's probably the type of guy that you'd want to sign if you're the Rockets, especially considering we just let go of Nate Williams, right? So let that kind of guy go pick up JD Davison. It's a cool little signing.
Yeah. I think for me, when you look at, because if you go back to watch, and if you're watching JD Davison tape, you're either an NBA nerd or something is really wrong with you. But when you go back to how he played the G League, he was a volume scorer, volume shooter. I've always been interested to see how NBA players are scalable. Like if you could take scalable skills, like if you're taking 20, 22 shots in the G League, what does your role look like if you're going to be playing spot minutes in the NBA and you're only taking 2 or 3 or 4 shots? As an offensive guy, he's still a good player, but this is an end of bench, not even an end of bench player. This is just another signing on the roster to fill the numbers, and he's going to play with the Vipers. He might come on, a super long road trip, or if they play, if they have injuries, but he's a guy to have. I mean, he's nice. He can handle the ball. He can operate in pick and roll. He's a streaky shooter, but he has shown that he does belong at this level. But to what extent, if you're counting on Davidson to produce, you're probably in a bad spot. So it's a good body to have for numbers, but it's just another sign.
Yeah, I had some people saying they were going to start tuning into those RGV games. So Dre was one of them. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be an exciting guy to watch. I don't know if he's going to get too much burn. To our question from DJ, I do not think he has more potential than Cam Whitmore, but I am excited to see him on the Houston Rockets for sure. So I don't know how often he'll get called up to even get meaningful minutes. If he gets meaningful minutes, as we've been saying, something's gone very wrong. So maybe
it is pretty interesting because like people might have missed this, but there was like a mini saga going on because if you remember, they offered Dante and Fale a qualifying offer.
Yeah,
and they were waiting on him because he had interest from other teams and he was trying to look around, and then they went in another direction pretty quickly. So that was when kind of went under the rug. But I'm interested to see, what team actually ends up signing in Fale because he was pretty good. He was pretty solid as a big man, but I mean, they probably have too many bigs right now as it is. But that was pretty interesting to me.
The last time we let go of a center who was on our summer league G League team turned out to be pretty good. But who just signed with the Pacers?
Oh, J-Hub?
Oh, J-Hub?
Yeah, J-Hub.
Yeah. I remember he had a really good run on the summer league team. I forget what year it was.
He didn't finish. They signed him after game 2. He didn't finish.
Yeah, he's nice. I'm not gonna lie, he's tough. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Dante. I like that they're keeping competitive two-way guys instead of guys who just hustle. Like Nate Williams, much love to the guy, but he had to go. So I like getting a G League MVP type player as your two-way guy. But yeah, I mean, to your question, the Rockets aren't getting another ball handler. Recently Ben Dubose put it on the Rockets wire. The Rockets are going to lean heavy. We've been talking about on the show. I mean, the men's really going to get a lot more on-ball touches this year. You're obviously going to see that from Reed Shepherd and Fred VanVleet. We already know. So they don't really need another ball handler unless someone goes down and, you don't bank on those things to happen. But, yeah, they're not going to get another ball handler. What the roster you see now is what
before the season starts. Yeah. I'll put it like that. But,
yeah,
at the deadline, I keep saying it. I don't think Capella's finishing that contract here. Honestly, I'd be surprised if he made it past year 2. I think that if something does come up where it's like you need to go get somebody else, he's making like what, 7-8 mil, something like that. And so like I think that's the first salary they go to use to bring in, because you obviously don't want to trade any of your young guys. You don't want to trade Fred. You don't want to trade KD. I'm going to say DFS is probably on the safer side, but who knows what happens with him. But in terms of guys who you'd be comfortable making, you don't want to trade Steven Adams, for example.
Yeah, he's the most expendable.
Yeah, Capella is the guy who's probably the most expendable. He's making a contract that's pretty ready to be traded. So I think that if they decide they want to get another ball handler, I bet you it's going to be with Capella's salary.
This would be a good question to tailor into. Do we feel like the lack of ball handling from the Rockets, as the season goes, will affect the season? With KD's handle declining. Does anyone want to comment on that?
I think that it depends on what you mean by. I don't think it'll affect them across an 82-game season. I think when you get into a 16-win season in the playoffs, that might be when the questions start to arise in regards to is there enough perimeter creation when teams are looking at the scouting report and saying, all right, half court, let's just focus on KD and make sure he's out make sure he's out of the equation like teams have done in the past when he was with Phoenix, when he was with Brooklyn. I think that's when the questions could arise. I don't think it'll affect him in the regular season at all. But you're really banking on two guys. You're banking on a men taking the leaps that you think his work ethic and talent warrant, and you're banking on Reed Sheppard being an NBA player this season. I think he is going to be the biggest swing for the Rockets this year is if Reed Sheppard is able to genuinely command 20 minutes a night and be productive in those minutes. I think it's a completely different outlook of a completely different outlook for the team. So I think that they're going to put, I don't want to say pressure because I don't want to be unfair to him, but it really is. It's a ton of pressure on him to produce and to produce right away.
Yeah,
I do
that's
agree.
a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. I think it comes down to how the Rockets maneuver this 2 timeline thing they're doing, because when you have when you have Reed Sheppard, these are guys that they put a lot of draft capital in. They're highly drafted, touted prospects, but you're also playing with the Fred VanVleets of the world, the Kevin Durant's. These are human beings. They're grown men. At some point, if things aren't going well in the ball hand department, they're gonna want to take over. So it's going to come down to, obviously, a man has shown you that he can be a ball handler. He still needs improvement, tighten it up a little bit. Reed also as well, but that comes with physicality and added strength. It's going to come down to the amount of patience that the team has, not the coaches per se, because in the line of scrimmage, in the line of war, the older guys are going to take command. I want to see how Fred adjusts, how Kevin adjusts to, allowing Reed to go through those growing pains, allowing a man to go through those growing pains as well. So it's going to come down to that balancing act between 2 timelines.
Yeah, and I'll say this really quick on this Reed Sheppard question. What are our expectations? For me, a successful season for Reed, I'm not even looking too much at the raw stats. I just want to see, much higher percentages, way better assist-to-turnover ratio, being playable on defense. That's the main thing with him. I don't really care if he's out there, scoring how much. But if he's hitting his open threes and he's being aggressive, then, he's doing his job. And he, of course, has to stay on the court by playing on the defensive side of the ball. So that's primarily what I'm looking for, not too much at those raw numbers.
He probably won't play nowhere near as many minutes to average 12 to 15 points.
Yeah,
if he's averaging 15 and 5, then
that means Fred.
Somebody's there.
Yeah, you're making some phone calls about somebody else not named Reed Sheppard. So
yeah. He's only going to be playing like 20 minutes a night at most. Some days, I'd imagine.
Yeah, maybe less than that.
Yeah, probably less.
Yeah, so nothing close to 15 and 8. Maybe when he's starting one day, if he gets to that point, hopefully. But yeah, again, I just want to see much higher 3-point percentage above league average at the minimum. And yeah, third overall pick, I want to see the production. Stone's high on him, Udoka's high on him, so we just want to see that, next season, of course. But let's see what other questions we have. Kelly, they had a question for you about Sengun. If you want to answer this one, any intel on how they plan to use him as a hub next year? More so with JG being gone.
That's probably the biggest reason why they've committed so many coaches to spend time with him in the offseason, because obviously every year they work with him, but particularly this season, given that they now have playoff data to work off of, and as a team, you're moving in another direction in terms of the level of attentiveness and focus to detail. Now, if you're going to continue to develop Alperen Sengun, that means playing through him more as a hub in the half court, allowing him to dictate stuff, having him work in tandem with Kevin Durant, because you understand that if you place them in certain areas, it's pretty hard to go zone against. It's pretty hard to double, send pressure at LP, send pressure at Kevin Durant. So putting more resources into Alperen Sengun is obviously the best way forward. Now, it's going to come down to how he handles that pressure, how he handles that expectations, because from this moment on, the moment he was named an all-star, everything changed. You are now viewed from the lens of, this is an all-star young center. How do you continue to grow and ascend? EuroBasket, they're going to be paying close attention to how he plays. Training camp. Obviously we saw the Luka Doncic and the new look he has. Do you want to see Alpi in that similar thing, or do you want him to continue to get stronger and bigger? But seeing what that looks like in a bigger role for him next season, because there will be more touches without Jalen. Even though Kevin is coming, you can still find ways to get Alperen some more involvement in the offensive end. It's going to be on the coaching staff to also look at some of Denver's film, look at some of Sacramento's film, and see how you actually run the offense through guys as hubs and how you can get guys more touches. But the proof is in the pudding. He is a good player. He can be a true hub, it's going to come down to the work that he's done already and what the coaching staff does to augment that.
For sure. I was going to say, before we get to Isaiah Crawford, the Rockets' other two-way guy, there was a question I kind of wanted to hear your answer, Dre. Last episode, we got into, who would be the fifth starter on the Rockets. You got Jabari, DFS, Tari Eason. We had a guy in here that just asked. Here it is. He asked it for Will, but Will really gave his answer last episode. But Dre, I want to hear your answer on this, bro. What do you think about that topic?
I think Dorian Finney-Smith is one of the most underrated players in basketball, and I think it'll become apparent sooner rather than later he's one of your 5 best players. I'm a firm believer he's been playing out of position defensively for the better half of the last 3 seasons, and he continues to produce and be one of the better defenders in the NBA while still being a legitimate 38+% shooter. I can only imagine what he'd look like with less defensive responsibility, with better defenders around him, and less offensive responsibility than I think he's probably had since playing with Luka, 2 seasons ago now at this point. He played with him last year too as well. But yeah, I truly think that he's the impact metrics, all love him. And I think if you turn the film on, you see why. He can be a low man. He can be a team defender. He's capable at POA. He's incredibly smart. And he's a legitimate high field player to me. I don't think he makes too many mistakes on the ball because he knows his limits on the ball. And I think that's something that some of our guys are still learning. They're still learning where exactly they can experiment on a game-by-game basis. And I think having a guy like that who understands what he is as a player already, understands what he's capable of and not capable of, having that next to a Sengun, having that next to a Kevin Durant, guys who are already more established and are expected to do more on the offensive end, I think it's going to make everybody else's life a lot easier knowing, hey, Sengun, you come off this drop step and a second defender's looking at you. That guy in the corner shoots 45% left corner. And I think that's something that we haven't had genuinely. And I think he's going to be incredibly valuable. So if I were picking the starting lineup, Dorian Finney-Smith would be my 5th starter.
Nice. That was a really detailed answer, too. That's why I threw that question. I know I was going to get something like that. So I appreciate you. We also had a question from our guy, Parthen. Appreciate you for the donation.
Laughing. That's Benny, bro.
That's Benny. He put the full
Is that Benny for real?
I'm crying, man.
That's jokes. What a detailed question. All right, so how do y'all keep up with the 3-point volume with the top guys command in the middle of the floor, as well as the limited number of pick and roll for easy?
That's what, bro.
We just talked about this. Benny, you're not a serious person.
That's why I was laughing.
That's funny. What do y'all think about that one, man? Or what did y'all say in the discussion? I'm curious to hear what y'all were discussing.
It comes down to the possession battle. I think that's the one difference between us and a lot of other teams. Every other team in the NBA is that our identity is buying extra possessions. And in years past, specifically last season, we went to 7 with the Warriors. We bought those extra possessions. We just didn't capitalize on them. The one sentiment I've been trying to say and one statement I've been trying to say is our offensive rebounds should go down because Kevin Durant is going to inherently rise the efficiency of our team. Our offensive rebounding percentage should not go down. We are still going to win almost every single offensive rebound. We're still going to be a hellacious defense. The rest of our identity has not changed whatsoever because we didn't lose the pieces that made up that identity. All we did was sprinkle on a 27-point per game score on 60-something true shooting that I can have on a night-to-night basis. And I think that's what'll, I don't want to say make up for the lack of 3-point volume at times, because I do think Ime and staff are looking, saying we probably do want to get a couple more threes up, and I expect us to get a few more threes up with DFS, with KD, obviously. I'm expecting Tari and Jabari to hopefully improve as 3-point shooters. Fred should be more in a off-ball role when he's not operating in those 1-5 pick and rolls with Alp, or he's not running double drag with Alp and KD, which is something I really want to see a lot this year. If that's not the case, I think just the possession battle, just winning every single extra possession you can, that's what's going to make up for us not putting up 53s a game on average.
Yeah, I'm saying then our we didn't get blown out last year with like everything that went wrong for us offensively. We were never getting we did get blown out, but that very rarely happened. Like even the 7-game series against the Warriors, every time we lost, it was single digits. And so for me, I look at it like, bro, it sounds reductive because basketball isn't played this way, but I look at it like, bro, we were made like 2 more made free throws and 2 more made threes away from beating the Warriors in like 5. And so I think just simply like throwing in Kevin Durant into that mix, and then you have to hope that Reed Shepherd can actually do something for you on the perimeter this year. Like I think that you obviously drafted him because of how good of a shooter. Part of why you drafted him was because of how good of a shooter he was at Kentucky, and you have to hope that translates. Like I have been saying for a while now, quiet is kept. Jabari has not shot league average from 3 yet, and hopefully this is the year where I kind of don't even want league average. I want above league average from that guy. So different stuff like that. You hope that goes your way, and then obviously you add KD to the mix. I think that's enough to get you over a lot of the humps that were in your way last year.
Right. To add to that, if you go back to the playoffs, Houston was 16. They were dead last in threes attempted per game. During the regular season, they were 20th. And a lot of that was personnel, but just simply adding to what you guys talked about, KD and Dorian Finney-Smith, assuming that the coaching staff does the right rotations and the right substitution patterns, you should always have at least 2 elite shooters on the floor at all times. And when you have that, if you combine that with an improved Alperen Sengun and improved Amen Thompson, those driving kicks will be there. The zone beaters will be there, and just having the right personnel on the floor is. I don't think the Rockets should be in the bottom half of the league in 3-point attempted rate, because adding KD, adding Dorian, if you think Jabbar is going to become a better shooter, Reed as well, the pieces are there to be a much more efficient team, much more efficient attack, and the Rockets can truly have an inside-outside balance if everything goes according to plan. But it's going to come down to, because if you guys go back to last season, you watch some of the play calls and the sets, they weren't particularly conducive to a team that should be shooting a lot of threes. And now you kind of have to not uproot the floorboards the whole way, but you have to put some new furniture in there, it's going to be different offensively. So I think the biggest thing for them is seeing how quickly that KD and Dorian can adapt to what they're building and vice versa.
Yeah, I was going to say this. When we were discussing, guys that are shooting a 3, again, Reed Shepherd, he's coming in, he's going to be taking a lot more threes. That'll help. And Will, to your point, the Rockets getting blown out. They stayed in most games this year, even without taking a lot of threes. They had 12 10-point losses, right? Only 4 teams had less in the NBA. I really think going into next year, especially with Kevin Durant, right? We've been discussing this. The Rockets have an identity now. They're going to lock up. They're going to dominate the rebounding battle. And that in turn, they're going to probably dominate, the time of possession. So I really think they're going to be in control of probably 80-90% of the basketball games that they play. So I think they're going to be able to make up with 3-point volume by getting extra possessions, of course, on the rebounds. As Dre mentioned, it may not be as much just because they'll be more efficient, but that percentage, I don't imagine is going to go down, especially with the double big being there for a full sample size of the season, right? So they'll be fine 3-point volume-wise. I do think it's important, yes, to put up a ton of threes in today's NBA, but it's also important to lock up and be efficient. And again, they got Kevin Durant in the half-court offense now, and that's going to make them a much better team. So I think they'll be able to compete. That's a really good question. Wherever that was discussed first, that was a good topic.
When you looked up you said we got blown up by 10 or more 12 times this year?
Yeah, we were 20. Yeah, so go ahead. What was your question?
Can you see what teams that was? How many?
So it's OKC got blown out 5 times. Or they got blown out 5 times.
No. I'm sorry, not the teams beneath us. I'm saying in those 12 L's.
The
teams that they lost to.
Yeah,
I'd have to just pull up.
How many of them were above 500?
Oh, that's a good. I'd have to look that one up. I wish I could get that one off the spot.
We had a nasty L.
I must say, I was at.
We lost, bro. We were at the game where they got smacked.
Yeah.
Rockets
like Brooklyn blew us out, and that was a nasty L.
OKC for sure. They got probably smacked twice.
Did OKC smack us?
They did that one game where we just chilled and we're like, all right, we're not gonna play anybody.
Yeah.
I think another time.
Oh yeah, the one at the end of the season.
Yeah,
the one where Reed looked pretty good.
Off the top of my head,
so I know that the Thunder beat Houston twice by 10 points or more. It was like one was 15, one was 13.
If you got the in-season game, they definitely beat us by 10.
The Celtics won by like 20.
They beat us
and that was we were we were missing a ton of people
that game was nasty.
No, I ain't gonna lie. No, they just beat us. I said that wasn't we didn't know that.
They
They
beat
just
us
beat us.
Yeah, and then you also got the last 3 games of the year that the Rockets were just like.
I think they lost to the Pistons too. But the Pistons was 11.
Oh,
that was
MLK Day,
MLK
right?
Day.
Were you able to pull up the games we lost by 12, Brad, or was that?
I can pull it up right now. I'd have to just scroll through the schedule.
I think
it's gonna take that much work. You don't gotta do it.
No, they lost to the Thunder. What was this? What was the score of this game?
They did get smacked by the Thunder.
Twitter. I apologize for making that game, man.
No, you're good. OKC, they lost by 19 on the 9th game of the year. That's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
The 9th game of the year?
Yeah,
126. Yeah. Boston beat them by 24. Yeah, Pistons, y'all had that one right. Yeah, Brooklyn beat us by 12. That's nasty. Brooklyn.
I think that was
you said it was
doing. Yeah, it was bad.
It was
I think that was a 5-game losing streak.
Yeah, well, they got blown out by OKC twice.
I'll say this is why I'm glad I sat there and covered every game on TikTok, because I'm about to go scroll back and see what happened, because I don't remember the game at all.
Yeah, but
I want to say that I think that first OKC game, I want to say Shea just went crazy. I want to say that was that game.
Sounds right. Sounds right.
It's the story of the entire season. So,
bro, Dylan Brooks was our highest scorer. He had 7. He had 17. That was a bad game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, to the topic again, the Rockets, I think they'll be in control of every game this year. If not most of them, of course. Again, rebounding battle and dominate. You got KD locking up on defense, so they'll definitely be good. Let's get to Isaiah Crawford. I don't think this episode is going to go an hour, guys, if you're tuning in. So, I mean, we got 60 in here. We appreciate you guys. Dead point of the offseason. So if you're in here, you're definitely a real one. If you're new, definitely sub. And again, leave comments. We're definitely trying to answer as many as we can. And we appreciate you guys. But yeah, let's get to Isaiah Crawford. And I'm going to go through some more of the questions that you guys asked. Isaiah Crawford is another two-way guy the Houston Rockets just picked up from Sacramento. Our guy Dre said he was a really good Twitter draft guy out of Louisiana.
Yeah, that was a draft Twitter guy out of La Tech. A lot of people were shocked that he went undrafted. I remember that was a big talking point on draft Twitter about that. 6'6", prototypical 3-and-D guy. If everything worked out, had some injury history in college as well. But he's got the build to be a 3-and-D guy. Didn't have crazy volume in the G League last year, but I want to say he did shoot about 40% from 3 during the G League regular season. I think he's personally I do still believe there's an NBA rotation player in there. I don't know if he's ready right now to be one. I do think he fits the identity of this team. If a guy does get banged up, like Kelly spoke on earlier, long road trip, you want to sit a guy a game or two to get some rest. I think he is a guy that can fill in and play 10 to 12 minutes if you need him on the end of a long road trip. So I've always been high on him. I think I had him top 30 on my draft board 2 seasons ago. Just didn't quite work out for him in terms of getting drafted, or really didn't break out in the G League at all either. But I like him as a prospect still. I think that he's still got a ton of upside if you can tap into that, and if the shooting is consistent, because that's always been the question with him.
Give it to you, Kelly. Go ahead.
Yeah, going back to what you guys talked about earlier, the scalable qualities, 3-and-D, if you can shoot it at a 40% clip, 38% clip, you're good at fine time in the NBA. If you can defend at a high level at the G League, chances are you should be a decent team defender at the NBA level. Obviously, he's not going to be counted on as much to play, but he does fit the mold of an Ime guy, someone that's tough, someone that can toggle through different assignments and can space the floor. So if you can do any of those 3 things, you will play for Ime Udoka. It's just a matter of if you actually get on the floor, because this is a pretty deep roster. But yeah, I mean we're almost in August, so anybody. The minute I saw the Rockets tweet that, I knew we were in dark times, because this is a good players, but I mean it's July. It's the dead days of the summer. So anybody coming to the roster at this point is just coming to add numbers, add depth, and just to round out the roster. So pretty good addition.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll be the first person to say I don't know much about this guy, right? But just off the research alone, I like any two-way guy who fits the team identity. I didn't really like the previous ones that we had. Again, Nate Williams was a competitor. He's going to give you 125%, but it just lackadaisical, couldn't shoot the ball. And that's just not that's not really Ime Udoka basketball, in my personal opinion. So I like any guy who can go out there and shoot and play defense, and he has a role on a team. So 44.2% from 3 is eye popping, So again, these guys probably aren't going to be playing. If they have, something's going wrong. But I do like getting competitive guys in there. So that's what Isaiah Crawford is for the Houston Rockets. But yeah, I remember Will said early on in the show he didn't know much about this guy. You can prove me wrong if not.
Nah, I don't know nothing about it, buddy. I don't know nothing about him.
For real, nothing wrong with that. Because when I saw we signed him, I had no clue who he was too. So yeah, good signing from the Rockets though. We'll see what else happens this offseason. Kelly, you've been asked a question about Tari Eason early on. We get that every show. I don't think there's an update on that, but you can prove me wrong there too, if not.
It's quiet.
Yeah.
I thought there was another question.
There was another one for sure. People have been asking about the KD.
It was.
We'll also tweet about that today.
I'm not going. I don't got nothing to say about that on stream. But the DJ Generation at 8-on-1 said how many players on our team should be at least league average at 3-point percentage.
That's a good one. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the response to that one. And I'm not gonna count like guys who aren't gonna play. So like Aaron Holiday, for example, I think will be league average, but I'm not gonna count him because I don't think he's. Hopefully he's not playing. Let's put it like that. Hopefully it's Reed Shepherd who has that backup guard spot. So yeah, I think everybody he named minus Tari Eason should at least be league average on this list. Yeah, I think that's the list right there.
I do agree with that. If Tari's above league average, he's gonna be making a lot of money.
I don't think Tari puts up enough threes to do it. Because he's gonna have a game where he goes 2 of 3 and have a game where he goes 1 of 3. Or like 1 of 4, and then like a game where he goes like I said 2 of 3, something like that. So I don't know if he gets the volume to do it.
Yeah.
I'll say with Tari, probably the less threes he takes, I would say the higher the percentage. When he tried to up his, taking more threes though, that's
better. Funny enough, but let me see.
Yeah, I do know when he was starting and he increased his 3-point volume, that's when he went down. Like as a starter, he shot 32% from 3. Because this is not his natural game to be taking a ton of threes, but if he's out there starting, right, you got to up the 3-point volume. But I mean, again, if he's league average from 3, that's amazing. I would love that. But again, if they're not going to extend him this offseason and he's league average from 3, he's going to put himself in a conversation.
I mean, his volume doesn't go up as a starter. I think it actually goes. I don't know if it goes down, but he averages 2.1 3-point attempts. Oh, I'm sure I'm reading the wrong thing.
Okay. All right, I was about to say, I don't know.
3.4.
Okay. Yeah.
Which I think might just be more or less the same, though. How much is it normally?
His 3-point percentage? It's a little bit higher.
How many attempts does he normally take?
I'd have to go into the detail of the.
So it goes up by 0.6. So, and this was on his career. Let me do a filter for just
go for this last season.
So I do know. So I do know from the corners, he's always been around 38%. It's always the above the breaks that where it's a 4 to 3, sometimes out of rhythm, 4 shots, shot clock stuff. But from the corners, he's always been pretty decent.
Yeah, but to that question, and Will, as you pull that up, still, I agree with this.
The volume did go up as a starter, but it didn't go up by much. It went from I think 3.2 to 3.7 this season.
But that's actually not that much.
But the percentage did go down. It went down from 34.2 to
32.4.
32.2, yeah.
32.2. Okay. Yeah. So.
But yeah, I don't think it'd be league average.
Yeah, Dre, I don't know if you commented on this one. My memory's bad. Did you?
Yeah, no, it should just be those 5 guys. I think Jabari, Fred, DFS, KD, and Reed. If everything goes the way it should go, those guys should be at minimum league average from 3. I think for some of those guys, league average from 3 would be a bit of a disappointment, honestly.
I agree with that.
That's fair.
Yeah. And I'll say this again, guys, we're not going for the full hour, so we'll probably take 1 to 2 more questions for this episode, and then we'll probably call it. So let's see if we have any good ones. Kelly, do you want to say? I know what to say here. Want to comment? People are asking. Is there anything on the KD intro press conference? You think you're just gonna wait till media day?
Yeah, I think it's just off season, scheduling stuff. That's probably the best course of action anyway. Because I think we're in August. Training camp is the month after that. So if it hasn't happened by now, I think they just wait till media day. So it's all good.
Yeah. Anyone on stage? Did y'all see any interesting questions we can get into? I'm trying to find one, and if not, we can definitely call it. We have a EuroBasket question. What are y'all looking for with Alperen Sengun in EuroBasket? That is a solid question to end on if we don't get another good one. We got to answer our guy Isaiah's questions too. We'll get to that one in a second. But yeah, what I'm looking for with Sengun, I want to see a ton of confidence taking that three ball. Anytime he's on the Rockets and he gets a three ball, 80% of the time he's hesitating or he's just going to the basket or throwing up that weak pump fake. I want to see him shoot with confidence, and he did it in the last EuroBasket. So I thought he was going to take a leap in the NBA, but that confidence just went away when it came to touching the NBA floor. So I want to see him shoot really well from three. I want to say he shot 40% in the last EuroBasket from three or around there. So that's what I'm looking for the most. Obviously, pure domination. And he's playing like Latvia game one, Portugal, Estonia. Like, I want to see him go out there and just dominating. That's what I want to see. But obviously, I want to see improvement in the three-point department. Efficiency, I'm not going to be worried about. In the season, you know, we're going to want him to improve that efficiency. But just in EuroBasket, I mean, he's not any Turkish people watching. I don't mean any disrespect, but it's not the most talented team, right? But you know, he's going to do what he can do. So I'm excited to watch that.
Cancel him.
Clean it up. Flip
it. Get him.
They got some good guys. Shane Larkin. I got.
Nah, let's try to clean it up now. Cancel him. Where's Saddam yet?
I'm gonna say that they actually got a pretty decent EuroBasket team. Funny enough.
EuroBasket, I agree. Yeah.
I think the one thing I'm looking forward to. Yeah, this was the first season in the half court he was below 60% at the rim. So it's going to be a smaller sample size of EuroBasket. I think at most he'll play, 10 games if they make the gold medal game. Mm-hmm. But whether he plays 6 games, 7 games, whatever, just be efficient around the basket. And I know 1 or 2 shots is going to sway the stats a lot because it'll be a smaller sample size. But especially in the half court around the basket, that was the big step back that he took this season compared to others. So I do want to see just build some confidence around the rim to take into training camp and to take into the season.
Yeah, and I was going to mention Bona, the guy on the Philadelphia 76ers, the big man from UCLA. Yeah. He's solid, so that's going to be a fun front court to watch. We also have the other center who's probably out the league now.
Year 7. Yeah,
Yeah, he's solid for EuroBasket basketball.
For Miami too.
Yeah, he was. He was cool. And I know he played on Utah for a little bit too. So, yeah. Kelly, anything you want to see from Sengun in EuroBasket?
Yeah, just going back to what I talked about earlier, the coaching staff, it wasn't so much as the shooting touch that they wanted to work on, but the will to take those shots, because players are creatures of habit. You know, he knows that he can do damage around the post, underneath the nail. So he's going to gradually or he's going to want to play around those areas. The biggest thing for them is to get him comfortable with taking those threes. Even if you're not going to become a Brook Lopez, that's not what they're asking to do overnight. But sometimes the mere thought of a player shooting a trailing three or above the break three, it will cause the defense to alter itself in a way. And doing that on a consistent basis will make things easier for yourself and everyone around you. So if you're able to take those steps now, using this EuroBasket tournament as a pre-training camp approach, get some exhibition games in, get some conditioning up, and work on those floaters, work on the touches around the rim, work on the three-point game. By the time preseason comes around, by the time training camp comes around, you're already in a good spot, and you're probably ahead of some guys that were working out, with coaches during the summer or in gyms around the world, stuff like that. So just use this as a platform to take off from your all-star campaign.
Well, if you had nothing on this topic, I was going to get to Zay for our very last question.
I'll say he asked will there be a playback. I don't know if playback lets us do those type of games.
We may be able to legally stream it, right? It will be legal if I can buy it, but yeah. So we'll figure that out.
To broadcast it. If they would, we do it though.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll update you guys. I'll look for any avenue we can to stream that.
I don't think they're gonna let us do it though.
Yeah. For our last question, actually, this was a really good question. Do y'all think the volume of pick and rolls we run drops? I'll answer really quickly and say this. Obviously, Jalen Green was a high usage pick and roll player for the Rockets. Replace him with Kevin Durant. I saw a really good video from Stat Defender on Kevin Durant, in the pick and roll. He was averaging like 1.1 over that in points per possession on pick and rolls last year. And Jalen Green was probably around 0.92-ish. So, KD's a much better player in the pick and roll. And he also opens up a lot more in the pick and roll based off of the gravity that he holds. I don't know if he's going to be running as many pick and rolls as Jalen Green did, but they definitely can. And they're going to see much more efficient plays. with that being the case. So yeah, again, that's a good question. And you also added, if so, what play type do you think guys will supplement it with? I mean, again, if it's not pick and rolls, I'm just literally looking at replacing Jalen with Kevin Durant. KD has a ton of strengths out there. Just getting it to him and his spots, and then letting him work. I'm imagining, again, more Reed minutes, unless Aaron Holiday, that's going to be more pick and rolls for Reed Shepherd. But that's all I can think of for your question. I do think it may drop slightly. It could increase. I'd have to see it play out, but I do know that Kevin Durant is a much better pick and roll player than Jalen Green.
What's the volume on difference, Dre? Do you know the volume?
Yeah, Jalen was, if you include pick and roll with passes, I want to say Jalen finished the year like 9th in total pick and roll possessions per game. He was at like 15 a game. And it's been that way since year 2 for him. He's always been a pretty high volume, not even pretty. He's been amongst the league leaders in pick and roll volume. And Fred was right behind him. I want to say Fred was at 14.5, 15 as well. When you include pick and rolls with passes, it should go down.
That's also, I think it's gonna go down.
Yeah, it should just pick and rolls just aren't as inefficient of play type. It's getting faded out of a lot of the better teams in the league for a reason. And if a men's getting more on ball usage, a men hasn't been historically speaking the best pick and roll player or playmaker. He's an ISO guy. Yeah, like he was an ISO guy at OTE. A pretty good ISO guy. Like he only took 2 possessions a game last year, but he was a good ISO guy when you include passes last year. So I think the pick and roll volume should go down, and it should be replaced with Kevin Durant ISOs, more men ISOs, even more Sengun ISOs.
I think we'll see post ups. I think they're gonna start doing
the post ups
too. And Sengun to the post. That's
especially if you factor in that more teams are using zone defense, and if you're going pick and rolls, that's probably not the best way to go because you're bringing the man closer to the line, and you can run into issues like this. So now you have a Kevin Durant, you can attack the gaps in the zone. If you're playing Jabari, if you're going to LP in the post, now you have different ways you should have better isolation efficiency compared to last season. So I think you see less pick and rolls and a faster pace of game.
Yeah, for sure. Does anyone else have anything to say on this topic? If not, I got to thank Dre for coming on. Very first guest on the Rockets Collective. Definitely did a great job again at Willems. Yeah, man. Go ahead and plug your stuff, man. Go ahead.
And I appreciate y'all having me. Just follow me on Twitter at Willems, WILLLUMZ. My link tree's in the description. My link tree's in my Twitter bio, but follow the Right Read podcast. He's on my left, Will. He's one of the co-hosts as well with Isaiah, the guy who just commented, and Usset, who's somewhere in the mountains of Canada right now. I don't know where bro's at, but we drop the podcast every Friday, so just find us there and on Twitter.
Hey, Potato, Sean is banned from the show. I will never let Sean on the Right Read.
Someone said something about Sean.
Man. Sean is banned.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he'll never come on here. Never. Kerry, I know you know nothing about that, but yeah, he's not coming on here.
Yeah, my hands, man. I don't know nothing.
Oh man.
I'll end us with this, man. Look, if y'all are tapped in on Apple Podcasts, definitely you can watch us there or listen to us there and give us a 5-star review. Let us know what you think. And on these videos, again, we appreciate y'all for sticking with us in the dead times of the offseason where we're literally discussing two-way guys, right? And y'all are in here. So we thank you guys for sure. And again, appreciate y'all for 1,000 subs. If you're not subbed yet, please do so. And I promise you content will get more interesting as time goes on. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Another stream of the Rockets Collective, and we'll be back next week. We'll see you guys.